In the lush, prosperous village of Osusu, where the air was thick with the scent of roasted bushmeat and palm wine, lived a wealthy trader named Chika Nwosu. Chika was known throughout the village for his sharp mind and vast wealth. At 45 years old, he cut an imposing figure in his fine George wrapper and red cap, the mark of a titled man. His compound, with its imposing meeting house and numerous yam barns, was the envy of the village. As the eldest son of his father, Chika had inherited a respectable trading business, but through his own cunning and hard work, he had expanded it tenfold. His traders traveled as far as Arachukwu and Onitsha, bringing back exotic goods that made Chika the talk of the entire local government area. But for all his success, Chika had one regret: he had no wife or children to share his wealth with. His mother, the formidable Adaora, had been pestering him for years to take a wife. "Chika, my son," she would say, her voice heavy with concern, "a man without a wife is like a needle without thread. How will you continue the family line? Who will pour libations for you when you join the ancestors?" Chika had always brushed off these concerns, focusing instead on his business. But as he approached his mid-40s, he began to feel the weight of his mother's words. It was then that fate, or perhaps the trickster god Ekwensu, intervened. On a bustling market day, as Chika was overseeing the sale of a large shipment of palm oil, a commotion near the village square caught his attention. Pushing through the crowd, he saw a young woman standing defiantly before a group of young men who were taunting her. The woman was Adiz, and she was a vision of beauty that took Chika's breath away. Her skin was smooth and dark as polished ebony, her eyes bright and fierce. She wore a wrapper of vibrant Adire cloth that hugged her curves, and her hair was plaited in intricate patterns that spoke of both artistry and wealth. Without thinking, Chika stepped forward, his voice booming with authority. "What is the meaning of this? Is this how we treat visitors to our village?" The young men, recognizing Chika, quickly dispersed with mumbled apologies. Chika turned to Adiz, ready to offer his assistance, but found himself struck speechless by her beauty up close. Adiz, however, was not impressed. "I thank you for your intervention, Nwokoma," she said, her voice cool and melodious, "but I assure you, I was quite capable of handling the situation myself." Chika, usually so eloquent in his business dealings, found himself fumbling for words. Of course. I meant no offense. I am Chika Nwosu, son of Nwosu Okafor." A flicker of recognition passed through Adiz's eyes. "The great trader of Osusu. Your reputation precedes you, Chika." From that moment, Chika was smitten. He began to seek out Adiz's company at every opportunity, showering her with gifts and attention. He learned that she had recently arrived in Osusu with her friend Olana, seeking a new life after some unnamed tragedy in their home village. As news of Chika's courtship spread through Osusu, so too did the whispers and rumors. Some spoke of Adiz's mysterious past, wondering what secrets lay hidden behind her beguiling smile. Others, particularly among Osusu's eligible young women, muttered darkly about Adiz's true intentions. "She's nothing but a gold digger," declared Chinyere, the daughter of a wealthy palm wine tapper who had long hoped to catch Chika's eye. "Mark my words, she'll use juju to control him and then run off with all his wealth." But the most troubling rumors reached Chika through his own mother, Adaora. A woman of keen insight and unwavering devotion to her son, Adaora had taken it upon herself to investigate Adiz's background. "My child," she said one evening as they sat in the chica, her voice heavy with concern, "I beg you to reconsider this hasty courtship. There are unsavory whispers about your Adiz." Chika, his mind clouded by infatuation, waved away his mother's concerns. "Mere jealousy and idle gossip, NNE. Adiz is a paragon of virtue and beauty." Adaora's eyes narrowed. "There are those who say she arrived in Osusu already with child. That she seeks a husband to provide legitimacy for her bastard." For a moment, doubt flickered in Chika's heart. But then he remembered Adi's enchanting smile, the way her eyes seemed to light up when she saw him. No, he decided, such rumors could not be true. Enough, NNE, he said firmly. I will hear no more of these baseless accusations. I intend to make Adi's my wife, and that is final. As Chika threw himself into planning a wedding that would be the talk of Osusu for years to come, he remained blissfully unaware of the whispered conversations taking place in the shadows of the village. In a secluded corner of the village stream, Olana met with a hooded figure, their voices low and urgent. It's all going according to plan, Olana murmured, her eyes glinting with satisfaction. Adiz has Chika wrapped around her little finger. Soon, she'll be the wife of the wealthiest man in Osusu. The hooded figure leaned forward, a man's voice rough with urgency. And the child? What of the child, Olana? Olana's lips curved into a cunning smile. Worry not, my love. Chika is so besotted he'll believe anything Adiz tells him. A premature birth, a blessing from the Chi, it matters not. By the time the truth comes to light, if it ever does, it will be too late. As the conspirators continued their clandestine meeting, the wheels of fate had already been set in motion. In his compound on the outskirts of Osusu, Chika dreamed of a future filled with love and many children, unaware of the storm gathering on the horizon, a tempest that would shake the very foundations of his world and test the limits of trust, loyalty, and revenge. The news of Chika's impending marriage to Adiz spread through Osusu like wildfire. The village buzzed with excitement and speculation, as preparations for what promised to be the grandest wedding in living memory got underway. Chika spared no expense. He commissioned the finest tailors from ABA to create elaborate outfits for the ceremony. Adiz's wedding gown, a masterpiece of lace and beadwork, was the talk of the village women. Chika himself would wear a richly embroidered Iziagu shirt, paired with a majestic red cap adorned with eagle feathers, a symbol of his status and wealth. As the wedding day approached, Chika's compound was transformed. Colorful canopies were erected to shelter guests from the sun, and long tables groaned under the weight of festive foods, jollof rice, pounded yam, egusi soup, and mounds of fresh fish from the Niger. Palm wine flowed freely, and the air was filled with the rhythmic beats of talking drums and ojin. On the morning of the wedding, the entire village seemed to hold its breath in anticipation. Adiz, resplendent in her wedding attire, was led to Chika's compound by a procession of singing women. Chika, waiting in his chica with his kinsman, felt his heart swell with pride and love as he caught sight of his bride. The traditional ceremony was performed with all due solemnity. Kola nuts were broken and shared, palm wine was poured in libation to the ancestors, and prayers were offered for a fruitful union. When Adiz knelt to offer Chika the cup of palm wine, their eyes met, and for a moment, all of Chika's doubts melted away. As night fell and the celebration reached its peak, Adaora watched from the sidelines, her heart heavy with unspoken fears. She observed Adiz closely, noticing how the young woman's eyes often strayed to the edges of the compound, as if searching for someone. Months passed, and life in Chika's compound settled into a new rhythm. Adiz proved to be a capable manager of the household, winning over the compound's inhabitants with her charm and efficiency. Even Adaora found herself warming to her daughter-in-law, though a nugget of suspicion remained lodged in her heart. It was during the 5th month of their marriage that Adiz announced her pregnancy. Chika was overjoyed, immediately calling for celebrations and making plans for the naming ceremony. But Adaora's old suspicions resurfaced. She began to calculate dates in her head, remembering the whispered rumors of Adiz's condition before the marriage. As Adiz's belly swelled, so did the undercurrent of gossip in Osusu. Some remarked on how large she was for so early in the pregnancy. Others noted that she seemed to be avoiding certain foods that pregnant women typically craved. Chika, blinded by happiness and anticipation, noticed none of this. It was Chinyere, still bitter over losing Chika to Adiz, who finally voiced what many were thinking. At the village stream, where women gathered to wash and gossip, she spoke loudly enough for all to hear. "It's clear as day," she declared, her eyes flashing with malice. Adiz was already carrying before she ensnared Chika. "The poor fool is raising another man's child." The accusation spread through Osusu like a bushfire in the dry season. It reached Chika's ears, but he dismissed it as the spiteful ramblings of a jealous woman. Yet, a seed of doubt had been planted, and it began to grow, nurtured by small inconsistencies he had previously overlooked. 7 months into the marriage, Adiz went into labor. The compound erupted into a flurry of activity as the midwife was summoned. Chika paced anxiously outside the birthing hut, his mind a whirlwind of emotions, joy, fear, and lingering doubt. After hours of labor, a cry pierced the night. The midwife emerged, her face grave. "It is a boy," she announced, "healthy and strong. But Didi Chika, there is something you must know. This child, it is not premature. He is full term." The world seemed to tilt on its axis as the implications of the midwife's words sank in. Chika stumbled into the birthing hut, his eyes falling on Adiz cradling the newborn. The sight, which should have filled him with joy, now twisted his heart with pain and betrayal. "Is it true?" he whispered, his voice hoarse. "Was our entire marriage built on a lie?" Adiz's eyes, usually so bright and confident, now shimmered with tears and fear. "Chika, my husband, please. I can explain." But Chika was beyond explanations. Rage and humiliation warred within him as he stormed out of the hut, ignoring the concerned calls of his kinsman. He found himself at the village square, where he collapsed beneath the ancient Iroko tree, his world shattered. As dawn broke over Osusu, the village held its breath, waiting to see how the drama in Chika's compound would unfold. The story of Adiz's deception spread quickly, and people gathered in small groups, whispering and speculating. Little did they know that this was only the beginning of a tale that would shake Osusu to its very foundations, a story of love, betrayal, and a revenge plot more intricate than anyone could imagine. As the sun rose higher in the sky, casting long shadows across Osusu, Chika remained beneath the Iroko tree, his mind a tempest of conflicting emotions. The village elders, sensing the gravity of the situation, convened an emergency meeting in Chika's Chika. Meanwhile, in the birthing hut, Adiz cradled her newborn son, tears streaming down her face. Her friend Olana sat beside her, a comforting hand on her shoulder. "What will we do now?" Adiz whispered, her voice trembling. "Everything is ruined." Olana's eyes hardened with determination. "We stick to the plan. Chika is a proud man. He won't want the village to know he's been deceived. We can still salvage this." As the day wore on, the elders summoned Chika to the village square. The air was thick with tension as he entered, his face a mask of stone. Nwa Ani, the eldest among them, spoke, his voice gravelly with age. "We have heard what has transpired. This is a grave matter that threatens the peace of our community. What do you intend to do?" Chika's voice was cold when he replied. "I will not raise another man's child as my own. Adiz and her bastard must leave my compound immediately." A murmur ran through the gathered elders. One of them, Chika's uncle Izioba, leaned forward. "Nephew, consider carefully. To send her away now would bring great shame upon our family. The child has been born in your house. By our customs, he is your son." Chika's fists clenched at his sides, but he remained silent, the weight of tradition warring with his personal anguish. As discussions continued in the Chika, Adiz made a decision of her own. With Olana's help, she penned a letter to Chika, pouring out her heart on paper. She explained her desperate circumstances before coming to Osusu, begged for forgiveness, and swore her love and loyalty to him. When the letter reached Chika, he read it with trembling hands. The raw emotion in Adiz's words stirred something in him, but pride and hurt still held sway. After a long night of deliberation, he reached a decision. The next morning, Chika addressed the gathered villagers. "Adiz will remain my wife," he announced, his voice carrying across the crowd. "The child will bear my name. But let it be known that this decision is made for the sake of honor and tradition, not out of forgiveness." A collective sigh of relief rippled through the crowd. The potential scandal had been averted, but everyone sensed that the story was far from over. In the months that followed, life in Chika's compound took on a strained normalcy. Adiz devoted herself to caring for the baby, whom Chika named Ikena, meaning father's strength, a name laden with irony given the circumstances. Chika threw himself into his work with renewed vigor, often leaving on extended trading expeditions. But beneath the surface, resentment festered. Chika's warmth towards Adiz had turned to ice. He refused to look at or hold Ikena, and the joy that once filled their home was replaced by a heavy silence. As Ikena grew, it became clear that he was the spitting image of Chika. The resemblance was so striking that whispers began to circulate in the village. Some suggested that perhaps the midwife had been mistaken, that Ikena truly was Chika's son. Others, more versed in the complexities of heredity, muttered about the strange ways genetics could manifest. These whispers reached Chika's ears, planting seeds of doubt in his mind. Could it be possible? Had he been too hasty in his judgment? But each time these thoughts surfaced, he squashed them ruthlessly, unwilling to let hope take root only to be disappointed again. One fateful evening, as Chika returned from a particularly successful trading journey, disaster struck. While crossing a rickety bridge over a swollen stream, he lost his footing. The fall was severe, leaving him unconscious and badly injured. When Chika awoke days later, he found himself in darkness. The village Dibia, summoned to tend to him, delivered the grim news: the fall had robbed Chika of his sight. The once proud trader was now blind, dependent on others for even the simplest tasks. This twist of fate brought about a shift in the dynamics of Chika's household. Adiz, seeing an opportunity to prove her worth and perhaps regain her husband's affection, threw herself into caring for him. Her gentle hands and soothing voice became Chika's lifeline in his dark world. Months passed, and Chika's bitterness began to soften under Adiz's constant care. He found himself looking forward to her visits, to the sound of her voice as she described the world he could no longer see. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, the ice around his heart began to thaw. But just as it seemed that reconciliation might be possible, Chika overheard a conversation that would change everything. Late one night, as he lay awake in his darkened room, he heard hushed voices from the courtyard below, Adiz and a man he didn't recognize. "How long must we keep up this charade?" the man's voice hissed. "I'm tired of sneaking around like a thief to see my own son." Chika's blood ran cold as he realized the truth: Ikena's real father was here, in his compound. As he listened, the full extent of the deception unfolded before him. Adiz's pregnancy, their marriage, even his accident, all were part of an elaborate scheme. In that moment, something broke inside Chika. The betrayal he felt was deeper than before, more absolute. But instead of the hot rage he had experienced when Ikena was born, a cold, calculating anger took its place. As dawn broke over Osusu, Chika had made a decision. He would pretend that he was still blind, pretend that he knew nothing of their treachery. And in that pretense, he would craft a revenge so complete, so devastating, that it would become the stuff of legend in Osusu for generations to come. Little did Adiz and her co-conspirators know that the blind man they thought they were deceiving could see all too clearly, and was about to turn the tables on them in a way they could never imagine. As the weeks passed, Chika perfected his charade of blindness. He stumbled convincingly, relied on others to guide him, and never let on that his sight had returned. All the while, he listened, observed, and planned. Chika's newfound disability had an unexpected effect on the village dynamics. people spoke more freely around him, assuming he couldn't see their expressions or gestures. This allowed him to gather information, piecing together the full extent of the deception that had been played out against him. He learned that the man he had overheard was named Chidi, a trader from a neighboring village who had been Adi's lover before she came to Osusu. Chidi had orchestrated the entire scheme, using Adi's to secure a comfortable future for himself and their child. Olana, it turned out, was not just Adi's friend but Chidi's sister, adding another layer to the complex web of deceit. The accident that had supposedly blinded Chika was no accident at all, but a carefully planned event designed to make him more dependent on Adi's and less likely to uncover the truth. As Chika absorbed these painful revelations, his resolve hardened. He began to lay the groundwork for his revenge, making subtle changes to his business dealings and personal affairs. First, he started to liquidate his assets, converting them to forms that could be easily hidden or moved. He spoke of expanding his trade routes, using it as a cover to transfer wealth to secret locations known only to him. Next, he began to sow seeds of doubt among the conspirators. He would mumble in his sleep, things that hinted at knowledge he shouldn't have. He positioned himself to overhear conversations, then subtly referenced them later, watching as confusion and paranoia grew among Adi's, Chidi, and Olana. As months turned into a year, Chika's plan began to take shape. He announced his intention to host a grand feast, ostensibly to thank the village for their support during his blindness. In reality, this feast would be the stage for the final act of his revenge. In the days leading up to the feast, tension in the compound reached a fever pitch. Adi's, Chidi, and Olana were clearly on edge, whispering urgently among themselves when they thought Chika couldn't hear. The day of the feast arrived, and Osusu was alive with excitement. Chika had spared no expense, and the air was thick with the aroma of roasting meat and palm wine. As evening fell, guests began to arrive, filling the compound with laughter and chatter. Chika sat in a place of honor, playing the role of the blind host to perfection. He laughed at jokes, accepted well wishes, and even dandled young Ikena on his knee, an action that visibly relaxed Adi's and Chidi. As the feast reached its peak, Chika stood, tapping his walking stick for attention. The crowd fell silent, anticipating a speech of gratitude from their respected elder. "My friends, my family, my people," Chika began, his voice carrying across the compound. "I have gathered you here not just for a feast, but for a revelation." A murmur rippled through the crowd. Adi's, seated nearby, tensed visibly. "For the past year, you have all believed me to be blind," Chika continued. "But the truth is, my sight returned months ago." Gasps of shock echoed around the compound. Chika turned, fixing his gaze directly on Adi's, Chidi, and Olana. "I have seen everything. I know everything." What followed was a detailed account of their deception, the planned pregnancy, the orchestrated accident, the secret meetings. Chika's words fell like hammer blows, each revelation causing Adi's to shrink further into herself, while Chidi looked around wildly, as if seeking an escape. "But my blindness was not the only deception here," Chika said, his voice now tinged with a cruel satisfaction. "While you thought me helpless, I have been busy. My wealth, my lands, my trading contracts, all have been dissolved or hidden. You sought to take everything from me, and now you will have nothing." The crowd was in an uproar now. Some were calling for Adi's and her conspirators to be punished, while others looked on in shocked silence. Chika raised his hand for quiet. "I will not seek traditional justice. Your punishment will be to live with the consequences of your actions. Adi's, Chidi, you are banished from Osusu. Olana, your deceit has brought shame to your family. Let them decide your fate." With that, Chika turned and walked steadily out of the compound, no longer needing to feign blindness. The crowd parted before him, a mixture of awe and fear in their eyes. As he reached the compound gate, Chika paused and looked back. Adi's was on her knees, tears streaming down her face. Chitty stood frozen, the reality of their situation slowly sinking in. Olana was surrounded by her angry kinsmen, her future uncertain. For a moment, Chika felt a twinge of regret. Then he remembered the depth of their betrayal, the months of lies and manipulation. His heart hardened once more. Without another word, he stepped out into the night, leaving behind the shattered remains of the life he had once known. As he walked towards an uncertain future, Chika felt a weight lift from his shoulders. The game of deception was over, and he had emerged the victor, though at great cost. In the years that followed, the story of Chika's revenge became legend in Osusu and beyond. It served as a cautionary tale about the dangers of deceit and the power of patience. And somewhere out there, Chika began anew, wiser and warier, but finally free from the web of lies that had entangled him. If you enjoyed this story, please drop a heart emoji, comment, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also turn on post notification to get updates when we post a new video like this. Thanks for watching.